pigeon goes straight into a cage in Dory's flat, where it puffs up its feathers and flattens itself down. It looks a bit like a fluffy ball sitting there. Pigeon watches its every move, but when it realises it isn't going to fly away, he comes and sits down at the bottom of the table by our feet. We eat porridge again that morning. We are running low on golden syrup now and have to make do with a much smaller yellow blob in the middle of our bowls. After breakfast, we go back upstairs and Dory catches another 2 pigeons quite easily. Then she asks me if I want to have a go at catching them. She shows me how you need to choose the one you want to catch, and then you keep your eyes on it so much it seems like all the others disappear. When that happens, you swoop your arms down and pick it up. Simple. I don't find it very easy. I keep hesitating about how to pick them up, and then they fly away before I can get my hands around them. After about 5 tries, Dory says I must try and imagine that I'm picking pigeon instead, and the next time I do it, I get one. It's a little white and grey bird with black beady eyes. I suddenly wish I could show Gaia the bird I've caught. I wish she could have seen me swoop down and pick it up and press it close to my chest to stop her from panicking. I know that she'd be good at catching pigeons too. I'll show her how we do it when I see her again, I think. But then another thought fills my head. What if I don't see Gaia again? What if we don't make it out of the tower? What if I can't find her? What if I never see Gaia again? The thought makes the world feel like it's tipping over, and I suddenly feel sick with the realisation that I'll never be able to speak to her again. It's a horrible, horrible feeling. I can't concentrate on what I'm doing and loosen my grip on the pigeon I've just caught. They start flapping, and I can't hold on to it. I let it go and it flies off frantically until it becomes just a tiny dot in the sky, and then it disappears altogether. Don't worry, Dory says. Do you want to try again? I nod, but I can't catch another one after that. I can't stop thinking about Gaia. Let's stop now, Addie, Dory says after a while. She puts her hand on my back and gives my shoulder a squeeze. I think you're missing someone, aren't you? I recognise that face. I see the same one in the mirror when I'm missing someone. Who do you miss, Dory? My husband, my children, my mother and my father, my sister and brothers. I'm about to ask where they are, but Dory carries on talking. And then you know what I realised, Addie? That it was a good thing to be missing someone, because that means you really care for them. It means that you have love in your life, whether that person is right there in front of you or not. Then I don't mind quite so much. So whoever it is who you're thinking about, you know that all of your love and your caring is travelling right to them right now. They'll know it. They'll feel it. They're probably sending it right back to you now, this very minute. I don't know what to say back to Dory. I just follow her down the corridor, play a game in my head where I try to tread in exactly the same place where she treads. I find that I can do it quite easily, and if I was winning points for doing it, I probably would have got about 100 at least. I used to play it with Gaia, but she would get annoyed and say, "Stop following me around, Adiola, and talk to me properly." I don't think Dory realises that I'm doing it though, because she doesn't ask me to stop. When we get back to her flat, Dory picks the first bird that we caught out of the cage and goes into the kitchen to fetch a sharp carving knife. We go into one of the flats which are not keeping food in. Have you ever seen anything being killed, Daddy? Dory asked me. I think about the time I saw a dog run into the road, and when the car screeched to a halt, it walked off quite unconcerned. I tell Dory that I haven't. These days, everyone's kept at arm's length from the fact that we have to kill to eat meat. Unless you're a vegetarian, of course. You can't just go into a shop and buy a lovely big chicken. Well, used to be able to anyway. And you don't have to get your hands dirty at all. It's all plucked and trussed and packaged up and ready for you to bung in the oven. It's someone else's job to kill the animals. We don't see it anymore. It's just the way things are these days. When I grew up, everyone had chickens and ducks in the garden. Some would even have a goat or a few pigs. It wasn't out of the ordinary. As children, we used to see a headless chicken wandering around. It just meant that dinner was on its way. Dory, why did you see a headless chicken wandering about? Because my mum had just cut off its head, dear Daddy. That's one of the ways people killed them back then. But the thing is that their body still moves, so they start flapping about, but they haven't got a head. It's a little bit gruesome. My dad used to say it wasn't very respectful, so he taught me another way to do it. It's quick and there's no blood. Shall I show you? I nod. Dory grasps the leg of the bird with one hand and holds it up so its head is hanging down. She speaks to it in a low voice, but I can't hear what she's saying. Then she puts her other hand around its neck so its head is tilted back a bit. Very quickly, she pulls up with one hand and down with the other. I'm not sure if I hear it really. but I think there's a sort of pop. The pigeon starts thrashing about, but Dory just holds it still and keeps talking to it in the same gentle voice as before. It doesn't take long before it hangs quite still. I come a little bit closer to inspect the dead bird. Its eyes are still open, but it's quite lifeless. The force that made it flap its wings and peck desperately our handfuls of seeds is gone. Where has it gone to? Is it still floating around us, ready to be carried in the wind to another place? What did you say to it, Dory? I asked her. Just nice things, really. And I thank you for feeding us. If someone was killing me for food, I would like them to say comforting things to me. I'd like to know that they're grateful to eat me. Yes, I guess I would too. We look at the dead pigeon a little longer before Dory puts it on the table and goes to get the other birds we caught. Each one she treats with the same tenderness and speaks to in the same soft whisper. It doesn't take long before there is a small heap of their soft, warm bodies. Dory shows me how to pluck the birds. I'm not sure if I want to at first, but once I start, I get quite good at it. Dory calls me lightning fingers because I'm able to do it quickly. The feathers come out much more easily than I thought. Dory says it's because we only just killed them. We can make a bit of a mess, Dory says, because we can always use this as our plucking room from now on. Little grey feathers float all around us in the air and settle onto the carpet like snow. After that, Dory shows me how to cut off the little bit of wing that you don't eat, and she carefully cuts out 2 bits from the body of the bird, which she says is called the breast meat. The meat looks rich and dark purple. Look at all this goodness, Adie, Dory says. This will keep us going. There is one last thing to do, which is to get rid of the parts that we aren't going to use and all the feathers that we plucked. Dory says they've come from the air, so that's where we'll put them. We throw them up into the light blue sky from the balcony. Just a few seconds later, the bodies of the birds look like they're flying before they plummet down to the bottom of the tower, but the feathers just slowly down, like swirling grey storms.